Welcome to Sober.Coffee, a weekly coffee chat sharing experience, strength, and hope for anyone on the sober road to recovery. You can download Sober.Coffee weekly on all podcast platforms and check us out on Instagram at Sober.Coffee Podcast and on Twitter at Sober.Coffee Pod. To learn more about us and to help support these sessions, visit online at Sober.Coffee. Here are your hosts, two guys on their own path to recovery, Mike and Glenn. Let's join them at the coffee shop.
What up, Glenn?
Hey, what's up, man? How you doing? You know what I think's so funny
What's
is
that?
we start these episodes and you put the timer out,
I know.
and we never abide by it.
No, we don't. It's like Jack Sparrow said. It's not really a rule. It's a guideline.
But it's not even a guideline.
No.
It's just there.
Well, I try and wrap you up after.
Oh, do you
18.
really?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, I don't
I
notice
try and
that.
land the plane.
I don't.
That's why I'm the co-pilot.
I'm
That's
oblivious.
why I'm the co-pilot.
I'm oblivious.
I'm the one actually paying attention to all the gauges in here.
God, man, you
just
rock.
like
I thought
willy-nilly
Brian was
flying,
doing that.
man.
I thought Brian was. I don't know what's going on.
I love you, brother.
Man, it's early Saturday mornings. What in the world?
I know. It's good stuff.
So Jen says this morning. She goes. She was actually up this morning. I was up at 3:30.
Wow.
She was up at like 4.
Wow. Good morning.
I'm like, what are you doing up, right? and so I go to leave, and she's like, have fun. And I'm like, this is not fun. Like I don't even know what fun is, right? Golf's not even fun. I'm frustrated the whole time. So I don't even, she's like, have fun. I'm like, it's not fun. So that's kind of our.
I'm having fun.
So hey, man, I saw something
Yeah.
on social media this morning. I see a lot of crap on social media. Lot of cool sober stuff, that I and we latch onto. But I saw something today, man, it just hit me. And it said, it was very simple, right? Sometimes simplicity wins. It says, drinking is awesome until it sucks. Sobriety sucks until it's awesome.
Oh, wow.
Now tell me that's not just hit the nail on the head.
It really does. That kind of defines my end of 2017, 2018, when it sucked, and then the first part of sobriety going into 2019 and now it's awesome. But you're right. It was because, and I'm gonna steal from yours. I had to learn how to play left-handed. I'm stealing that phrase from you.
Man, I forgot that phrase.
Yeah, everything changes. Everything, the whole way I operate, my whole operating procedure, it's like I went from an Android to an Apple. All of a sudden everything changed. And it didn't suck, but it sucked. If that makes sense. It was just awkward. It was change. It was operating from a different platform. The buttons were all in the wrong places, man.
Yeah, so first of all, I probably haven't used that left-hand phrase in a year.
Yeah, I love that.
I forgot it, and I love it too. I'd learned to live life left-handed, and but I would say,
Wait a minute, all the people that are left-handed are going, what are they talking about?
then you are right-handed.
Okay.
The opposite hand, I should say. No, I would say my early sobriety, even though my life was okay around me, it was just okay. My early sobriety for me sucked. I didn't have any tools. I really wasn't posting any wins. The only win I would post is I didn't drink that day. And yet I had confidence that I was in the room where it happened. That I was on the right path. I was in the room where it happened. And I just had confidence. The guy sitting next to me that had 5 years sober and seemed to have things going okay. And I had put my faith in him, man. But no, early sobriety for me sucked. I mean, I just never want to go back there again.
Did you so-called white knuckle?
Oh, absolutely. In fact, for the first year, I think I told you this, I took Antabuse. And that's the drug that has no impact on you whatsoever until you drink, and then it makes you violently sick and can even kill you. So that was like my safety net, right? That was my insurance policy. And what helped me during that year is I was learning tools. I was starting to do things. And when I call it my fuck it moments. When I hit a fuck it moment, I'm going to go drink, which I was really good at. I would remind myself and almost laugh. You can't drink. Now what? right? So it was almost a very conscious awareness that, okay, my life in this moment sucks for whatever reason. I usually drank.
Right.
I can't drink.
Right. Because you could die,
Right.
literally.
So what now?
Yeah, okay.
And the thing with the antabuse, which I love, I mean, I don't know who found this stuff, but it stays in your system for 2 weeks.
Right.
So you have to plan your relapse.
Right.
You have to plan 2 weeks in advance.
Which really
stop
isn't,
taking
which
your
isn't
medicine.
really problematic for a good alcoholic.
I mean, hey, there were a couple times I planned and then I drank it 10 days instead of 14 days, you know, and still end up feeling sick. And, you know, but, I mean, you had to really want to get off the rails. It wasn't like, I'll just not take my pill today and drink today.
Right.
It really stays in your system. So,
Glenn, you know, my story was so different than that because really from day one, I guess I was so repulsed by what I had become that was my antabuse. I would just, it was a feeling in my stomach where, oh man, that was just nasty. That feeling that I felt in the early morning hours of October 13th, 2018, I never wanted to feel again.
So I had the exact same feelings, but that's what drove me to have that next drink.
Right.
That's that cycle that counselor pointed
Yeah,
out to
but
me.
amazingly, the cycle stopped.
I know.
Because I was refilling that void that Dr. John talks about, and with hope. And that's what the program gave me.
Yeah,
Hope.
that's awesome. That's awesome.
All right. Hey, that was a good intro. What are we talking about today?
That is hilarious. No, that was a good intro. So sobriety sucks until it's awesome, and sobriety is awesome for both of us today and for many that are on the sober path. And the only thing I can say, if life still sucks for you, hang in there.
That's
Keep
right.
doing more, do more, find more tools.
Yep.
Right? All right, so what we were thinking about was the word no, right? You know, so many interactions in our life, right? I just feel the need to explain, especially with, you know, hey, can I get you a drink? Right? You know, especially when early sobriety people, I mean, barely anybody asks me today if I want to drink, but I know where I hang out, and I'm very confident in my sobriety today, and, you know, I just say no.
Right.
And so what we were chatting about is kind of like no is a complete sentence.
Right.
You know? And you know, a lot of people feel, oh, I need to explain, but that's your head trash, not theirs.
Oh gosh, I remember so vividly again the early days of my recovery where I was going to an event and it was crushing the emotional strain on how I was going to handle my response, not the situation. I felt confident I wouldn't have a drink. I didn't know how I was going to handle the social situation. And I sure could have used your knowledge or your wisdom then, right? Which is just no. Because I was worried about what came after no so much that it almost paralyzed me.
You know, I think it's important, not just with the drinking, but in early sobriety and all sobriety, is to have a level of confidence or get to a level of confidence where you own your space.
Yeah.
Right? Like I own my space today. And, you know, not just in business, but in my personal life. And, you know, I know what works and what doesn't. I know what my 25 tools are. I know where my danger zones. I have a very high awareness. And there are times I am really good at using the word no.
Mm-hmm. Just simply no.
No. Mm-hmm. And then it surprises people because they're like, oh, you know, they're so used to getting justifications, right, or having to be a period of negotiation. Mm-hmm. And when I use the word no and a period at the end of it, I usually don't get any questions because people were, you must really mean that, right? Mm-hmm. And I mean, I'll say with Jen, I'll have discussions with her on why it's a no,
right.
You know, if she needs it, but she has a very good feeling. You know, she can help read the label of my jar, and she knows that I know my game. Mm-hmm. And if I say no, the answer is no, and it's for a good reason, right? But I just saw early sobriety, especially, you know, even when you're trying to sober curious and trying to stop and should I stop and you know, especially out drinking, people are like, oh man, why aren't you drinking? Have a drink. And it's like, no, I don't want one.
Right.
You know, but what happens is the head trash, right? When I did that, and I'm like, oh, I need to justify because, you know, And then my head starts going, all the head trash of my past, right? Well, they don't know my past, right? So they don't need to go through and comprehend and do all the gymnastics of my past.
Sure.
Just say, no, I'm not drinking.
Right.
You know? And people, you know, I'm telling you, it's been years since somebody pushed me.
I love your story about the guy in the bar in New York.
The CEO?
Yeah, the CEO.
That was awesome.
And he was drinking a white Zinfandel over ice.
That was when I realized, and I mean, that was a key lesson for me. So I was out in Manhattan with a CEO. He was a client. And we're at the bar, right, waiting for the table. And we're at the bar. And he's drinking a rosé with ice, right? And so the bartender comes up, asks me what I want to drink. I said, I'll have sparkling water. He goes, what, you don't want to have a drink? I'm like, no. What? I mean, he hit me like 4 or 5 times. What, you're not going to drink with me? I'm like, no. He goes, you know, and finally I got to the point where I looked at him, I'm like, first of all, if you call that a drink, right? And it hit me at that point in time that my sobriety was more important to me than what he or anybody thinks of me. Right. And I gave in so many. I remember going to this big. I was with a girlfriend. I was going to this big attorney dinner, right, and 8 people around the table. And the entire time, they're all drinking. The entire time, I was thinking about what they thought of me not drinking, right? And I landed up, you know, eventually, you know, ordered double vodka and cranberry. Right. You know, and just because I couldn't, and it was all in my head.
Right.
And I'm sitting there saying, I'll show you. Mm-hmm. I'll get a double, you know.
Yeah,
and then I relapsed again.
Right.
You know, and so it was just dumb, man. And finally I got to the point with that dude in the bar, and I'm like, you know, I just cared about my sobriety more than what he or anybody thought of me. And I got to be pretty assertive. And now it must just come off. I don't know. I don't get pushed anymore.
Well, have you ever read the book Boundaries? It's a great book. It's posted in our
Dr. Henry Cloud?
No, it's not a Cloud book. I don't have the author, but it'll be in our resource room. Right. But the whole thing, it's not about sobriety per se, but what it's about is boundaries in life and the ability to say no or not say no. Right? I mean, we say yes too often because of social pressure or because of our perception of what somebody might or might not think about us. And when the real answer should be no. You know? I mean, Glenn, can you come over and help me put a new roof on my house today? You know? No. Many reasons why not.
Yeah, I mean, there are times. Are you sure it's not Dr. Henry Cloud?
It sure might be.
Let me see the cover. Right.
I'll know by the cover.
Well, you got that one.
Boundaries?
And then he's got this one.
Yeah, maybe it is Henry Cloud.
That one?
Hold on. It's Spinning Wheel. It could be. It wouldn't be a bad book if it's by Dr. Henry Cloud. I'll tell you that.
No, I just, I don't know. I think it's a head trash problem.
I think so too. That's exactly what I'm saying. I mean, how many times do I say? And again, this is about sobriety, but it's about life. I mean, it's about putting boundaries around what's important to you. I mean, and for us, our sobriety is the most important thing. But the second most important thing to me is my wife. So if somebody asks me to do something that I know she's not going to like, the answer's got to be no. Just no. I have to use that same spirit of consistency and intensity and protection of her to say the word no without explanation.
Yeah, and I think, and as I'm thinking through that, so I loved how you laid that out. I'm thinking through that, and I said, you know, I've earned enough credibility with my wife that she knows my purpose is to, you know, serve her,
right?
You know, drive her happiness too, and do whatever I can to make her world better. And so when I say no, she never questions me.
Right.
Like, for example, I got, family coming in this weekend from all over the country, and Monday she's like, hey, can you take off work Monday, to hang out with us? She said, I'd love you to do that. And I said, no.
Right.
And she goes, oh, okay, great. right? Because she knows if I could, I would, but I can't, so I don't.
Right.
So I don't know, man. I just think so many times, right? Okay, can we switch gears?
Yeah, switch gears.
How's the timer? Plenty
We're
of time?
doing good. Plenty of time.
All right. So we just chatted for 15 minutes about the word no.
Yeah.
Can we switch gears to the word yes?
Okay, go.
Okay. So there's a book out there. And I'm just brainstorming here out loud, so I'll probably hurt myself. But there's a book out there called The Year of Yes.
Okay. I think I've heard this.
And it's about some girl dating, and I think, right? It's about some girl dating, and for an entire year, she just said yes to every opportunity that came her way.
They had to please her guy she was dating with.
Changed her life.
Okay.
Changed her life. She had more exciting life than she's ever had.
Okay.
And so maybe a challenge to folks, right, in early sobriety is a year of yes. Right? Meaning, that doesn't mean, hey, do you want to drink? Yes. That's not what it means.
Right.
But especially those that are I'm not that familiar with all the other programs, but in AA, there's many opportunities to be active and to participate and to do things, right? And many times our old ways or our, laziness or lack of discipline or whatever, it's easy to say no. Hey, Glenn, do you want to play sober pickleball? No. Hey, Glenn, do you want to do AA bowling? No. Hey, Glenn, there's a big book study. Do you want to go with me on Sunday afternoon? No. Right? So what the challenge I'm just throwing out there to think about or to chew on is, especially in early sobriety, right? When you don't know better, right? And so for me in early sobriety, I know your story too, we surrendered and then we opened up and we started taking guidance from others. We listened to our sponsor. We did what the big book said for us to do. We participated in meetings, right? Hey, we need somebody to, help plant the flowers. Yes. We need somebody to help barbecue for the AA picnic. Yes. We need somebody to go to somebody's house to bring a meeting to their house. Can we get a volunteer? Yes. Right?
I love that.
Hey, there's a retreat this weekend. You don't sit there and think, no, because I'm antisocial and nobody's going to talk to me and I don't know anybody and I don't even know what a retreat is and I think that's weird and I don't know if I can sleep on that bed. The bed's not really that comfortable. I mean, that's no.
Right.
But, the challenge I just throw out there is just say yes, right? Because, first of all, I have found that when you get outside of your comfort zone, right, and that's hard to say yes to things outside your comfort zone, but that's where life starts. That's where growth starts, right?
But let's combine the two now for a second, because I really think that the challenge should be a year of, we're faced.
Maybe.
No, a yes or no. You're at a crossroads so many times throughout the course of the day where you can hang a right or left. You can say yes or you can say no. I think the real challenge is stop. What I've learned in sobriety is to before I make a quick reaction, because my inclination, like you said, is no. There was a picnic last week, an AA picnic, and our girl gang was there, and Brian was there, who's part of the, not part of the girl gang, but part of that group. This kind of new energy in sobriety, right? And initially, I said no, I can't do that. I've got no. I just said no, and I had 8 reasons in my mind. But the program has taught me that I should have said yes. So I did say yes. So my initial reaction was no, right? As I stood at the intersection, I said no. But then the real response should have been yes. I ended up going. I had a great time. So and hopefully I was helpful to somebody else. They were definitely helpful to me. It was a beautiful time.
So my input there is you have sober maturity to be able to determine yes or no. What I'm saying is somebody in early sobriety
has to look to the yes.
They don't have that. Well, I think as long as it's, I mean, here's, again, we're talking about AA, But as long as it's AA sanctioned, and as long as you're working with a sponsor and you clear things with your sponsor, you say, hey, sponsor, I'm thinking about just saying yes to all this stuff. You know, I spent my life saying no to a lot of stuff. I'm just going to get out there and get in the pool and dive in and just start saying yes to every sober opportunity I have out there, right? Because it's easy to sit on the couch. Your brain wants you to stay home.
Right.
Your brain wants you to go back to comfortable habits, right? And it's hard to get off the chair. You know, just like you and I with the podcast. I mean,
it would have been easier for me to sleep in this morning.
Absolutely. I would have loved to slept in,
but
right?
But
we said yes.
Yes.
And we keep saying yes.
Right.
Do you know why we're one of the top podcasts out there for sobriety?
Just because we keep coming back.
Because we keep. That's the only reason.
People stumble upon us. They stumble over us because we're there like an annoying ant.
And I think you get points for longevity, but we have never missed an episode, right? Because we said yes and we met it.
Right.
So I don't know. I think no is a complete sentence, and I think
yes.
You know, early sobriety, I didn't know enough to be able to make that determination, yes or no. And I wish I probably would have gotten further quicker if I had just said yes to stuff instead of making my own decisions. Right? You can't fix the problem with the same brain that created it. And I'm sitting there saying, well, should I do this or should I do that? I should have just said yes.
And I'm saying in maturity, and as you called it, sober maturity after a little bit of time.
Or sober experience.
I'm saying yes is enlightening. You are experiencing new things that you're giving life a chance to really play out in front of you by saying yes to something that instinctively you want to say no to.
Love it.
I love it, man. So yes, no. What's your answer?
I say no to certain things and yes to everything else.
Love you. See you next week.
All right, man.
See you next week.
Care, Mike.
Is that a yes?
Yes, sir.
All right.
All right, man.
All right, man.
Thanks for joining us for today's coffee chat. To contact the show, email us at podcast@sober.coffee. If you need immediate help, the AA hotline is 800-839-1686. The National Suicide Prevention Hotline is 800-273-8255. Remember, Mike and Glenn are sharing their own journey on the path to recovery. Any suggestions, medical or otherwise, are their own experiences and should not be viewed as professional advice. See you next week, and remember, there is a solution.